My name is Eliza, and this is the story of how a girl who felt invisible found her voice. A girl crushed under the weight of her family, her small town, even her last name, who learned to build a life of her own with nothing but grit and hope. The house I grew up in looked normal from the outside, but inside everything was tightly controlled. Our days were scheduled down to the minute. Sunday mornings, tea at 7, mosque at 8, silence by 9. My dad's voice set the rhythm of the house. Even laughing too loud was considered shameless. My mom barely looked me in the eyes. It was like she was afraid, or maybe no one had ever looked her in the eyes either. Inside me, there was always this feeling, like glass cracking. Every girl's "don't do that," every "aren't you ashamed?" just made it worse. But somehow, I never shattered. When I was 14, I drew a woman in my notebook. My dad saw it, locked my door, and left me with nothing. No dinner, no talking, just silence. I stared at myself in the mirror and asked, who am I? Am I just a body? Something to be handed over like an object? When I turned 16, my mom handed me an envelope. "You're going to meet this boy," she said. He was older, from a wealthy family. Even his name sounded expensive. But me? I was just Eliza. And in that moment, something inside me screamed, I am not for sale. That night, I lay awake staring at the walls. My entire life was being shaped by other people's hands, but somewhere deep inside, a spark had been growing. And that night, it became a fire. The next morning, I left the house without telling anyone and walked to a pizza shop on the edge of town. I was terrified, but more than anything, I needed to stop being afraid. I lied about my age, told them I was 18. "I'll do anything," I said. I was choking on a mix of shame and pride, but they hired me. First, I packed orders, then dishes, then deliveries. When I got my first paycheck, my hands were shaking. But that money wasn't just money. It was my first dream, my first decision. The first thing I did without asking anyone's permission. From then on, I worked every night. Shifts at the pizza shop, cleaning, at home, dozing off at school. But it was worth it, because I saved up every cent. And finally, I bought a used laptop with a cracked screen. That laptop was my door to freedom. I'd pull it out from under my bed every night. With broken English from internet cafes, I started watching YouTube videos. That's how I discovered dropshipping. Selling products overseas without holding any inventory. It sounded like a fantasy, but I believed in it. When I launched my first online store, my whole body was shaking. I uploaded products, figured out shipping, answered messages from customers in countries I'd never seen. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was learning. One morning, after another long shift at the pizza place, I came home and heard a notification on my phone. My first order. From America. A woman I'd never met bought something I had listed. I collapsed onto my bed and cried. Because for the first time in my life, I felt real. Orders started coming in. New products, better packaging, smoother communication. No one at home was proud of me, but for the first time, I was proud of myself. By the time I was 18, I started secretly looking for an apartment. I found a tiny old studio, and I moved out without telling a soul. Everything I owned fit into one suitcase, but inside me was enough freedom to fill a whole universe. When my dad found out I'd left home, he came to my door. He just stood there. His face was full of anger, but underneath, there was fear. Because even he knew, no one could stop me now. Today, I'm 24. I run my own e-commerce brand, and I mentor women who make things from home. I teach them how to start, what to avoid, where to begin. I tell them this: even if you have nothing, you can still build yourself. My story started with silence. a little girl who wasn't allowed to speak. But now, I'm heard. I was a nobody. Now, I'm helping women find their own way. And the best part? I'm not alone anymore. Maya, thank you for letting me share my story. Because I'm not just speaking for myself anymore. I'm speaking for every woman who's ever been silenced. If you're watching this right now and you feel like you're stuck in the dark, just know. One little spark is enough. You are not alone, and I hear you.
Eliza's story will echo in the hearts of so many women. The limits we were taught don't have to define us. Sometimes a girl's silent tears become the inspiration for thousands. If you're out there searching for your voice, she's not alone, and neither are you. This is sisterhood. This is strength.